Hello Internet, I'm HamsterBomb and welcome to an awesome video that was actually heavily requested. You all wanted to see what my Metal Gear Rex model would look like when I was finally done painting it, and believe me, this took forever to get this done. I really can't even really say how many hours it took to get this guy painted. I'll move the camera around and spin him and stuff so you'll get more shots of him later, but I showed the actual model after he's put together with no paint at all in another video. I can link it to you down in the description below. And it took a really, really long time after then to actually go back and do all the details and paints and stuff like that. But before I even show you that, just to know what I was talking about, they give you a book, and I'm kind of blocking the light by even doing that, but I'm going to put them back here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. They give you this final spread in their booklet of installing him that show you where those patterns go of the camo lines and stuff like that. Now, it's super helpful, yeah, but there's also a lot of points in it you'll find, if you are going to try and do this yourself, that they just don't even show you, like specifically the backs, interiors of things, places that there actually are patterns, but you can't really find them, and good luck trying to figure it out in the game because those patterns from Metal Gear Solid are not very prominent. So, before we even get into him, I know I kind of want to get these little guys out of the way before I even mess with them. You do get to see these in my last video that I did, so instead I'm going to try a different tactic. Let's zoom in instead. Here's an itty-bitty little gray fox I'd finished painting. You actually do get to see him in the last videos, like I said, so I don't want to spend too much time on these guys, but yeah, they're very, very small. He comes with one little gray fox. Like here, there is actually a second gray fox down here as well. Hey, enjoy his knee while we're zoomed in. This itty-bitty little gray fox is supposed to be smushed, you know, after... Oh! Speaking of smushed, there he goes. He's supposed to be crushed under the Metal Gear's foot, so this is him laying down like so. He's also missing his arm. Yeah, he's basically painted identically. I used a gold and silver on him, and I think he looks a lot better because he's so small. If you use the brighter, more show-offy colors or higher contrast stuff on things that are very small, I think they look better. Here is Snake. Once again, I used I coated him mainly with like a gray, and then I went over him with a Micron Pen and drew in all the little details of where he's actually holding the rocket launcher and stuff like that. So, speaking of like dealing with all the little details, you really want to, if you want to paint something like this, paint it as if it were very small, because all those little details that are in the knees and everything, you want to make those pop out by making them, like, I guess, oversaturated, over complicated, and they will look better. Like, basically, what I did was, I'm going to start moving the camera now at this rate, and I've never tried doing this before, so this is probably going to be very confusing and difficult for me. I'm going to move our little guys out of the way so I don't run into them anymore, so we can get a really good look at how I ended up painting Rex. Before we go any farther, yes, there is a little painted liquid snake who does get to sit inside of him as well. That's awesome. Just to give you an idea of like how small we are right here. There's my finger. There's so many little pieces, and it looks really intense, like trying to paint something on this scale. It's really awesome. I'm really glad that I got it to look so well. I was really worried. Like, I didn't even really want to paint my Rex at first. I was worried I was just going to mess him up. But I spent just a ton of time, really, to make sure that he looked really good. I'm actually having issues trying to spin him on here because of this. He's actually so large that he's too big for my base. So what I did first was I basically took whatever piece I was going for, coated it with silver enamel model paint first. Kind of made it blotchy. It really looks like shiny metal if it's like unfinished. If you give it a second coat, it'll look even shinier and probably would look, I guess, a little sleeker. I didn't want that. I wanted it to look a little run down, but not like how some people you'll find online actually paint this with rust and stuff all over it. I didn't decide to do that, so instead I just went for kind of a shiny metal, but it's also been used. After I finished with the silver, which you can see basically almost on all parts except some of those joint areas that are white, we'll get into those in a bit, I then followed the patterns that were in the book to put all these green shapes on it. that. I can't, I'd have to go grab exactly what color green I used, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I just kind of coated it with a mossy green kind of color that I had in a set that I bought of, I think it's Testors enamel paints. So after that, I kind of lined up each of those and then coated different areas that called for different colors. Like this is actually like a dark navy. It might be showing up like a black on here, but it is actually a dark navy, and I used it pretty much everywhere I would instead have used black, because I didn't want to use black. If you get really close here, you'll see, because I used navy, I was able to get into the details on all of those little areas and draw the little lines on here, which was the next step. After I finished putting the patterns and all the extra colors on these, that was my phone's text tone actually, all you Metal Gear fans. After I finished drawing all the, painting the colors on everything, which some parts did require some gold. There's a little bit up here, say on the back of the ray dome, and the railgun has a little bit as well. You can see it right there. And it matches the gold that is in this back portion. I don't know what you call that guy. But anyway, after I finished that, I went through it with that same Micron pen, which if you guys don't know what a Micron pen is, let me actually grab one. I got it in reaching distance under me. Here's one right here. They look like this. You can find them at, just hobby stores all over. I actually used these for drawing comics before and inking, and the numbers are different sizes. Throughout making Rex, I just use 01s and 005. 005 is extremely fine point, and for the most part, that's what I used unless I needed a fatter line somewhere, which didn't happen too often, but it did in case I couldn't draw one of the lines. So that's why all the lines that are on him actually jump out and they still pop. So I did the line work last after drawing and painting and everything else on him. So it was kind of tough. Mainly getting into a lot of those cranny areas that couldn't quite work the first, like when you're building him. Say you gotta see under his neck is like really intense down there. There's so much stuff that you can't see. And I'm holding this camera at the same time, so I can't quite get down here. There you go. You see there's like tons of details in all these little areas that are really hard to see. If I set you guys down for a moment, I'd be able to get in there and like really pick them up and move them around. You notice I have these little knee things open at this point because now you can actually see all the little missiles and stuff coming out of them. Actually, I should point out the only points, there's very few points where I went away from deciding what colors I wanted it to be. These little heads, these things on the shoulders really are supposed to be white, but since I used that navy color in several other places, I thought it just matched a little better using the navy there. You can see on the back I have those things open as well. There's tons and tons of little pieces on this guy, and like I was saying before, reaching all of them is kind of difficult. Getting into paint him, it probably would have been easier if I had built one, knew how he was put together, and then built another one, but instead I painted each piece before I actually assembled them. That probably would have been a lot easier, but that's not what I did. So, whatever. I mean, once he's already put together, it wasn't that bad. I mean, who's really going to, stick their face right up in here and then go, oh my gosh, you didn't paint that point right there, Alex, that's not good. It's fine. So aside from looking at all this other stuff that's like super detailed on him, you will also notice at some points the articulation is technically a little different now that there is enamel paint all over him. So when I showed the model in the last video, a couple parts were loose, they would fall out. Now I would say that's the opposite. Everything gets a little tighter when you put the enamel paint in there, which makes sense. I mean, it's only getting stronger and sturdier because the joints are having less room to move, or they're tighter and creak a little bit more. Like you could hear his head is now even stronger with posing somewhere. Kind of want to be able to move him, so I'm going to actually set you guys down just for a second so you can see me moving Rex just a bit there. That's good. So I have him back on this base, which is a really, really cool base. I showed it in the last video, which I actually haven't painted. I should mention, someone has pointed out that these things are called, oh gosh, I wasn't really prepared to say it on the spot. I don't really remember. Like connecting mechanical base things, I don't know, but they do sell these, and the brand that the Metal Gear things are, these Metal Gear models are from, actually can connect to other pieces. They're super expensive though. They're like 20 bucks for like 2 more of these things. It's like ridiculous. And that's the cheapest you can find them for. But yeah, you could build connecting environments with like walls and stuff like that. They're really cool looking. But this one is like kind of just generic. It's just a base. So instead of even trying to draw attention to it, I just left it this gray color. I honestly finished painting I finished on that leg actually. That was my last part just like 20 minutes ago. I was really excited to do this video. So that's the base. I'm just going to get rid of it at the moment. As you saw from the other video, Rex does have these things that will help him stand without the base anyway. I don't think if he's standing at this height, it'll help though. I have him standing up pretty high. Let's try though. I'm just gonna do it so I can move around and show you him some more. So yeah, everything is still moving pretty darn well. For the most part, I'm still like seeing him for the first time as he's done painted, and I'm really excited that I did it. I'm really excited to start another model actually, because I've never done this before. So that's really exciting. He looks really great. There we go. He'll stand as soon as there we go. Move the plank things on his feet back. Actually, you might even want to sit up a bit more. So the legs kind of moved there a bit. The right arm still moves just as well. I used a lot of white on there. I did notice with the white paints, I don't know why, but specifically with the white, it was very runny. And no matter how much I mixed it, I did it just the same as any other paint. I found that I was just having issues with getting that white paint to stick very well. It would kind of splash and get in places I didn't want it to go to. It was just overall kind of a trouble. But once it actually dried and finished up, I was able to get into all those crannies, and actually I'm going to show you under his head now that I got the chance. And draw those white spots, which actually looked really good now that they were finished. There we go. You can see, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that insane level of detail of all this stuff that you're just never really going to get a chance to look at. Like, look at there. Those dots. Like, look at those dots way under here. And that's just one little specific area that you may or may not ever actually see in this guy. So you can go the extra mile and try and do the insane amount of detail that's in him. Go ahead, because like I was saying in the video where I was done putting him together, the inside of him really does look like this. Like, it's super detailed, like mainly under the legs. It's crazy how detailed it is because of these gizmo thing, pumpy dumpy thingamabobbers. That is, like, that's definitely the technical term. And because of all that detail in there, you can try and paint each piece before you assemble him, but you'll probably end up doing like triple the amount of work that I did, because you'll probably not see any of it, which is why I was saying it would be ideal to build one to understand how it's built, so that when you build another one, you paint the pieces before you put them in and you know what you're doing. So, oh my gosh, I still kind of have a headache from, like, I don't know, rushing around and trying to get this video prepared, because, oh man, there was so much that went into this guy. I can't even really guess hours how much time went into him, like I said before. That thing actually popped off before. And because it popped off, I noticed I have not actually coated this little thing in enamel. If I coated it again with some enamel paint and stuck it in, that would probably never come out and it would still move just the way you'd want it. So that enamel paint could really give you a hand, actually, with trying to do a lot of this. I'm going to show you his underside. And holding those joints together. I am still having a couple issues with his railgun wanting to fall out. That's just unfortunate. There's nothing really you can do about that. But, you know, other than keep coating more and more with some extra levels of paint until it's really snug in there, that really will help. Oh, it's weird looking back here because I was just inking this like 15 minutes ago. So cool, so cool. This guy is like incredibly detailed, and I'm really excited to finally get him displayed somewhere so that he's not like in several pieces laying around my room. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. This is actually really incredible. So this was mainly just a video to show off his paint after he was finished. I'm really excited about it. I was considering doing like a navy blue or something different. Let's put that shield thing back on his hip. like I said, I was considering doing a different paint job. If you look up different paint jobs online, you can find some pretty interesting ones. I've seen a red and orange one that was pretty sweet. I've seen a shiny blue one that had a lot of rust all over it. It was pretty cool how the rust was made, but I mean, personally, I wanted like a traditional looking one from the first game because, I mean, you already get like the little figure guys that go with it already. I mean, you do some awesome setups with it. Plus, I really liked this Rex from the game. I didn't want to get too creative and mess around by changing up what I had liked originally. So I'm really cool with mine. I enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Is this like one of the coolest Metal Gear Rex figures you've ever seen or what? I'm proud of it. I'm really glad that it's finally over after all this time and all this work. My amazing Metal Gear Rex model has finally been finished. So thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like the videos and subscribe for more, and I will see you on the next Metal Gear video. See ya!